One thing that I noticed for question 1 about the play is the irony of the play. Esther's profession is to create intimate apparel, yet she completely lacks intimacy in her love life, not even with the letters that she sends to George, because it's not her that's writing them. The second question, the two values, the first value would be intimacy and connection, being two things that humans all crave, something that we all have in common. And it's very ironic, going back to the irony, that she isn't allowed to touch Mr. Marks because of his religion. The second value is trust. Mrs. Dixon warns Esther that George writes too often and that she shouldn't trust him. But since Esther has never really gotten the taste of intimacy that she so craves, she doesn't want to listen to Mrs. Dixon. Third question, something that I didn't understand that I wanted to look into was the context of the Panama Canal, and maybe what George might have been feeling at the time working there. And I found out that the Panama Canal was built by thousands of contract workers, and to them, they literally called it Hell's Gorge. They lived like second-class citizens, subject to a Jim Crow-like regime with bad food, long hours. And so that kind of explains why George, on the other side, was also, sending these letters, like just searching for that intimacy and connection that he was lacking there when he was being mistreated. Question 4, issue of diversity. This play definitely showcases the hardships that African Americans faced at the turn of the century. We see the societal divisions, especially with the professions that Black women had compared to white women. We saw the prostitute and the seamstress, which were professions that white women would have never had at the time, nor today very much. It's mostly ethnic minorities that hold those two professions, and especially with the illiteracy of Esther. It just reinforces the societal division between races that still exists today. And I was thinking the purpose of writing the play would be, despite that we all have different lives and different professions, all ethnic, minorities and white people and everybody, we as humans all seek and deserve the same thing, which is this play, intimacy and connection, the entire theme. Fifth question, do stereotypes of African Americans and other groups still exist today? Of course, and it's honestly the same thing. Lower class blue collar jobs are mostly held by racial minorities. So the stereotypes emerge of them being poor, maybe greedy, and having ill-behaved families. And one way we can overcome that is by fixing the education system and making sure that all people have access to, the same and equal education. Sixth question, 2 questions that I have. So I noticed that the bed is a reoccurring thing that Lynn Nottage adds to the scenery. So what might that symbolize? Second question, why do you think that Lynn Nottage made the characters so diverse? There was a Jewish man, white woman, Black woman. So what's the purpose of that?